The project on optimization of hydrological regime of central part of swamp Yelnya was implemented in 2007-2009. Located in the north of the Republic of Belarus, covering an area of more than 200 square kilometers, Yelnya Mire is the largest Belarusian and one of the largest European raised bogs. Yelnya raised bog plays a very important role in supporting biological diversity. Yelnya is home to a number of globally threatened and red data book species of animals and plants, and supports large numbers of migrating geese and cranes. The site is a nature landscape reserve of national significance and an IBA and a Ramsar site. From the air, Yelnya raised bog looks surprisingly colorful, but on the ground the problems become much more apparent. The key reason for this is that a network of drainage canals was dug in the central part of Yelnya in the mid-20th century. As a result of the drainage, the water table in the central part of the bog fell by up to 1 meter below ground. Dry peat started to mineralize, releasing tons of CO2 into the air. But what is much worse is that the drainage made the peatland prone to fires. In the last 2 decades, fires began to occur regularly, usually starting from dry areas around the canals. In 2002, an exceptionally large fire burned over 70% of the surface of Yelnya, destroying much of its vegetation and threatening its biodiversity. Restoration of the vegetation layer was hampered by the low water table, and even more than 5 years after the fire, at the time of a joint field trip by conservationists and scientists to Yelnya, the central part of the bog looked like desert. It was then that the project to restore the hydrology of the central part of Yelnya was conceived. Detailed research was implemented prior to planning conservation activities, such as engineering, design and construction of dams, in order to monitor the process of restoration of vegetation and water level regime. A system of permanent sample plots and hydrological monitoring was set up. Volunteers and local community members were engaged in rehabilitating the mire. Over 35 dams made of local materials, burnt trees and peat, were constructed on the main canals during joint camps. The use of local materials and simple design constitutes to make maintenance of such dams very easy. 6 more solid dams of similar design were also built by a local construction company. A caretaker network involving local communities was established around Yelnya to monitor the changes, threats and condition of the dams. Thanks to the dams, the water level in the canals and the lakes at Yelnya significantly increased. While a restored hydrology will serve as a basis for restored biodiversity, for some inhabitants of Yelnya, restoring hydrology is not sufficient. Every autumn, the willow grows, molts into completely white, disguising plumage. Now, when winters become much softer due to climate change, the white bird becomes an easy prey during autumn and spring thaws. However, many species that were threatened by the fires, such as charismatic black grouses, are benefiting from restoration of hydrological regime, as are other species such as the red-listed cloudberry. While standing dead trees still serve as reminders of the fires, the vegetation layer is showing its first signs of recovery, especially along the canals. The cranberry, an important source of additional sustainable livelihoods for hundreds of local families, may need more time to restore.